$8,800,000. That's the total purse for this year's John Deere Classic. But here's the real question. How much of that actually goes to the winner? We are talking about life-changing money. A single check that could buy a house, pay off every debt, and set a family up for years. But it's not just about first place. Every single position pays something. And the difference between finishing 10th and 20th? That's over $100,000. So who's walking away with the biggest check? And how much does everyone else get? Stick around, because I'm about to break down every single dollar from this year's John Deere Classic purse. The big number. What's the total purse? Let's start with the headline number. The 2026 John Deere Classic has a total purse of $8.8 million. That's $8.8 million up for grabs at TPC Deere Run in Silvis, Illinois. Now, if you follow golf, you know that $8.8 million is a solid number. Not quite the $20 million signature events, but still a massive chunk of change. And the winner. They're taking home a cool $1.584 million. That's 18% of the total purse going to one person. But here's what most people don't realize. That winner's check represents a huge jump from just a few years ago. The John Deere Classic has been a staple on the PGA Tour for decades, and the prize money has grown significantly over time. In 2024, the purse was already substantial, but this year's $8.8 million shows how the tour continues to raise the stakes. And it's not just about the money. The winner also gets 500 FedEx Cup points, which is huge for anyone trying to secure their playoff spot or improve their ranking. At this stage of the season, with only a few events left before the FedEx Cup playoffs, every point matters. Winner's share, $1.584 million. What that really means. Let's talk about that winner's check, $1.584 million. That's not just a number. That's life-altering money for most players on tour. For context, the average PGA Tour player earns around $1.5 million per year in official earnings, but that number is skewed by the top guys. For a mid-tier player, a win at the John Deere Classic could represent their biggest payday of the season, maybe even their career. The winner's share is calculated as 18% of the total purse. That's a standard percentage for non-signature events on the PGA Tour. And when you compare it to other sports, golf's winner-take-all percentage is actually quite high. Here's something interesting. The runner-up gets $959,200. That's over $600,000 less than the winner. So that final putt on Sunday? It's worth more than $500,000. That's the kind of pressure that separates champions from the rest of the field. And let's not forget, this is a 54-year-old tournament with a rich history. The winner's name gets added to a list that includes legends like Jordan Spieth, who won here twice. So it's not just about the money, it's about legacy. The full payout breakdown. Who gets what? Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The John Deere Classic pays out to the top 65 players and ties. That means if you make the cut, you're getting a check. Here's how it breaks down. Position earnings. First $1,584,000. Second $959,200. Third $607,200. Fourth $431,200. Fifth $360,800. 10th $239,800. 20th $116,600. 30th $60,280. 40th $38,280. 50th $22,616. 60th $19,800. 65th $18,920. Now look at those numbers closely. The difference between first and second is over $600,000. The difference between 5th and 10th? Over $120,000. Every single shot matters. And here's the thing, even if you finish 65th, you're still taking home nearly $19,000. That's a solid payday for a week's work. But for the guys at the top, this is a career-defining moment. The payout structure is designed to reward winning disproportionately. That's intentional, it creates drama, it puts pressure on the leaders, and it makes Sunday afternoon must-watch TV. Who's playing for this money? So who's actually going to be competing for this $8.8 million purse? The field this year is actually pretty stacked. Defending champion Brian Campbell is back, looking to become the first player since Steve Stricker, 2009-2011, to win 3 straight titles. He won last year at 18 under par in a playoff against Emiliano Grillo. But he's not the only story. Jordan Spieth, a two-time winner here, is in the field. So are Max Homa, Tony Finau, Ricky Fowler, Tom Kim, and Keegan Bradley. That's a solid lineup for a non-signature event. And then there's the story everyone's talking about. Jackson Koivun, the amateur superstar, is making his professional debut at this tournament. He already finished T11 here last year as an amateur, so he knows the course. Imagine winning your first pro event and taking home $1.584 million. That's the kind of story Hollywood writes. The tournament also includes 8 of the top 50 players in the official world golf ranking. So while it's not a major, it's a competitive field with plenty of talent. Why this tournament matters beyond the money. Here's the thing about the John Deere Classic. It's more than just a paycheck. It's a tournament with history, tradition, and a unique place on the PGA Tour calendar. This is the 54th edition of the event, and TPC Deere Run is hosting it for the 26th time. John Deere is the second longest running title sponsor on the PGA Tour, behind only AT&T. That kind of stability is rare in sports. But here's what really matters. This tournament is a stepping stone. It's one of the last events before the Open Championship, which means players are using it to fine-tune their games. And for the guys on the bubble, it's a chance to earn FedEx Cup points and secure their playoff status. The course itself is a test. At 7,327 yards and par 71, it's not the longest course on tour, but it rewards accuracy and strategic play. Winning scores are typically around 20 under par, which means you've got to go low to win. And let's not forget the history. Legends like Jordan Spieth have won here. Bryson DeChambeau won here early in his career. This is a tournament that launches careers. So when you see that $1.584 million winner's check, remember, it's not just about the money. It's about joining an elite group of champions.